me.
Hey, check that out.
You know, you could even do is open the window, stick your feet outside.
There you go.
This is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel, hanging out with Cody with Barn Swallow Tiny Homes. He's back on the channel. Last time we had him here, he had a Ford Transit custom camper van that was absolutely gorgeous on the inside. Today, he's gonna show us a client build. His client had very specific requests for usage and floor plan, and Cody nailed it. So join us for the tour.
Hey Patrick, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me back on the channel. I'm really excited to be back. I have a 2023 Mercedes Sprinter van here that is really a unique van. The last time you guys saw me on the channel, I had a spec build that I built to sell. This one is a client build, so it has a very specific goal and mindset here for the client. It's not conventional by any means, and that's where we really excel at, is making unconventional things. So what this is here is a mobile office, but it's so much more than that. It's a camper, it's a passenger van, and so it needs to serve all of those functions for my client. He didn't want a one-trick pony. He wanted a van that could be his mobile office, whether he's in Alaska, which is an exact scenario he talked about because he has Starlink satellite internet up on the roof, or locally he could set up and go to local trade shows, or he could just go have a nice time for the weekend with his family. So let's dive into some of the details here. On the outside, we have a Fiamma awning. We have enough LEDs to make a space station out here. We have aftermarket A&M auto windows on the sliding door and the rear section. We have amp research power steps. We got a bug screen. We got this enormous LED light bar on the front of this van. It's like looking at the sun when that thing lights up. Circling around the front here, we got it's hard to see through the windshield right there, but we have a DVR that has a G sensor for if the client is in an accident, it'll start recording. This van actually is equipped with the aerial view system, so it's like a surround perspective. It's fantastic to drive with that add-on. I don't know how people did without it. Up on the roof, we have 200 watts of rich solar panels. We have Starlink satellite internet with a 12-volt conversion. One of the unique things about this van is it actually started as a passenger van, and so it's got that huge factory AC on the roof of it, which was quite the challenge to work around. But I have to say, it's very powerful, and if you do have a van full of passengers, it's nice to be able to take advantage of that. On the outside, we have a 50 amp marine grade stainless steel inlet, power inlet, and down lower here we have Agency 6 storage pods. This is your fresh water intake. It might look like a city inlet, but it's actually just an inlet for the big 35-gallon water tank that's underneath that replaces the spare tire. And speaking of which, we moved the spare tire up here to this Aluminess rack that just makes a lot of sense for reorganization of the undercarriage. I also added a Class 3 hitch here with a 7-pin trailer wiring harness. Got an Aluminess storage box on the back with a bigger rack. This is their new design, so you can add accessory gear to the rear. That little camera on top of the factory camera is the rear part of the DVR recording system. These LED pod lights on the back, those are meant to be like backup floodlights. What do you call them, Patrick? For
docking lights.
Docking lights, there you go. So you can turn them on from the front driver's seat or from back here. It's on a 3-way switch. We like to try and take advantage of all the options. Looks like I got a vacuum in here, but we got a brand new Aluminess box on the rear. And what do we have here? Oh, this is the diesel heater, Webasto diesel heater. This is the exhaust. That's the fresh air intake coming in. And we got another one of these Agency 6 storage pods on the rear. Rather than having to mount the feet to the ground for the Fiamma awning, we got the brackets here in aluminum, not the chintzy plastic ones. And I guess that concludes the exterior tour. Let's step on inside where we got your barrier to the outside. We got a Van Life Essentials bug screen. Now moving down to the floor here, we have this cargo mat that has been modified. So I mentioned this van was a passenger van when I first got my hands on it, but it's so much more than that. It's an office, it's a camper van. And so if my client wants to be able to add additional seats, one of his options is to be able to click a bucket seat into this location by popping out these strips. And by popping out a strip, he doesn't lose the whole mat. So it keeps the coziness of the mat, and then you pull that one out the same way we just pulled this one out, and he can click the seat right into there. Let's put that back. And then moving forward, we got a nice diamond plate aluminum threshold to protect the edge of the mat and provide secure traction walking in. We got an AC outlet, a DC outlet. We got bamboo drawer boxes. Nice Isotherm DC refrigerator freezer combo. It's cranking nice and cold. And then up here we got another drawer, but it's not just a drawer. We have a cooktop. We have an induction cooktop built into a Corian top. Let's tuck that away. Now, let's get in here to the nitty gritty. We got Scopema swivel seats on the factory Mercedes bucket seats. We got a nice display here. It's all factory. We didn't mess with any of that. One thing we did mess with is we added a DVR up here. I mentioned that from the outside, so it's got a G sensor on it if the client were in an accident. It helps his case, at least if it's not his fault. And then down there we have a switch that goes in the factory Mercedes pods that controls that huge light bar you saw on the front of the van. We added this shelf. It's a Tech Van Life aftermarket shelf that I think blends really nicely with the aesthetic of the van. You might notice this up here. It's out of place, but it goes in the rear of the van. We'll get to that. But you'll notice that it's bamboo in color, which ties nicely to the custom cabinets. Speaking of which, these custom cabinets were made in-house. So this is 100% bamboo, and then we have real wood cabinets. And Patrick, when he walked in here, he's like, "Are these metal cabinets?" And it might look like it just because of the type of finish we have on it, but it's actually a wooden cabinet. It's just we pay a very close attention to detail at Barn Swallow Tiny Homes and try not to make any imperfections. Underneath here we got an LED light strip. So one of the intended uses for my client is he wants to be able to display merchandise in this area. So he has racks that he wants to make and install on the L track. And so the idea with this light strip shining down was so if clients come into the van, they can see the merchandise that he has laid out here. So like I said, he might have other racks here, but this is a Lagoon table that we made. That's my beautiful brand. The same bamboo as the cabinetry. We got a Lagoon table, and this is an in-house fabricated bracket that bolts right into the metal. It's really strong. You can shake this thing, you can shake the whole van grabbing that thing, so that's really satisfying. We're the home of overkill engineering, and very satisfying. So we have, as I mentioned before, we have the L track, and L track is extremely versatile. I don't have to tell you guys how versatile that is. But one of the main purposes of the L track was to install this custom fabricated computer monitor bracket. So my client wants to be able to sit here or maybe in a bucket seat that will mount there, and he can change the positioning and layout of his office setup here depending on what his particular needs are that day. We got reading lights in key places. So this one is meant to serve this seat up here, or maybe the bucket seat that goes here. This one is meant to serve the bucket seat that might go here. This is the factory emergency exit. Now we debated switching that to one of the AM Auto operable windows, but we decided that it kind of is operable, and actually if you end up having passengers in here, it's probably safest to have an actual passenger exit. Up to the Max Air fan, we have it's the Max Air fan Deluxe model with it's got a temperature sensor in it, so you can set it to come on and off based on temperature. We installed aftermarket puck lights that are on dimmers. So this is zone, oh, that's the bed, excuse me. So they're on dimmers. This is the galley here, and so this LED underneath here also comes on for extra kitchen lighting. It's controlled by the dimmer. Moving on, we got the Webasto Smart Temp control. This is an upgrade from the rheostat control that comes standard with the Webasto diesel heater. Victron Turbo GX with the GX Touch 70, the upgraded touchscreen. This is the new beta software, so cool. You can look into that on your own, but Victron's the pioneers in innovation. Really love their products. On this section, we have switching for all the exterior lights. It's daytime, so you're not going to really see the outcome of that. This is the control for the water heater. We could flip that on. We'll get hot water in a minute. Maybe we'll show how piping hot that gets in a minute. This is for the water pump, and this is for Starlink satellite internet. Back up to the bamboo cabinets. We wanted to have something low profile. My client tends to be claustrophobic in tight spaces, and so he wanted to have gentle approach on these cabinets. Instead of having like a rigid 90-degree corner from to bang his head on, we wanted to kind of mimic airline cabinets. So we came up with this design with the bamboo doors that pop up. We had to get unconventional because of the air conditioner shroud. We had some clearance issues, but we made it work. Speaking of the factory passenger air conditioner, it's very powerful. It'd be nice to be able to run it off of the electrical system. We'll get to the electrical system, but it's just not possible. I know some of you will probably ask about that. You can only run it when the vehicle is running. So now to the countertops, I'd really like to provide a shout out and thank you to Spalding Fabricators in Bricktown, New Jersey. They really always hook us up with beautiful Corian countertops. Corian's a fantastic choice. It's flexible. It's relatively lightweight compared to like granite or something. And this is the sink cutout right here, so extra workspace for a nice deep sink. One of the priorities for my client was to be able to wash his hair in the sink without having a shower or anything, so he wanted a nice deep sink with a faucet that pulls out. Underneath, this was a space I just couldn't bring myself to waste. It would have been natural to do like a false drawer or something here, but I decided to make a little spice rack that goes along the side of the sink here. It's just a little tiny void, so just put that back. Then under the sink here, we got this really short drawer that we had to notch for the drain. This cabinet, I need to go into, there's a lot of detail that goes to this cabinet, and I think it's a good time to elaborate on this. My client wanted to be able to revert this van back to a passenger van, at least from this row and that row. The third row is kind of out of the question. So his principal request of me was to be able to remove this cabinet, as crazy as that sounds. And this cabinet is able to be removed without any tools whatsoever. It's 2 ratchet straps that hold it in place from underneath, and even the water lines you're able to take off without any tools or hardware or anything. If we do remove this drawer, this is how we access it. So take that drawer out, and then I'm assuming Patrick's camera can show you guys some insight. There's a little marine service hatch here where the water lines for the faucet pass through and go to the water center. Now let's imagine the scenario where this cabinet is gone. We want this to look seamless and like it wasn't even here. And so that's the main objective. So that cover just goes right back on. Now the drain plumbing, that was a big challenge because you really don't want gases coming up from the gray tank and stinking this place up. And so what I had to do, and now the kick plate is off of here intentionally to show you guys. It's hard to see, but right here there's a compression fitting that's made for high pressure applications, but the real reason I picked it is because it's a dark gray color. It matches the rest of the van. So when this part comes off, that's all it takes to isolate this cabinet. You undo those 2 ratchet straps, undo these 2 water lines, and undo that coupling, and the whole cabinet just pops right out, and you better eat your Wheaties that morning because you're gonna carry it outside. It's a very heavy cabinet. So once the cabinet's gone, you can put the false cap that plugs the drain line so you don't get any sewer gases coming up into the coach. We got a microwave here, a nice little contour microwave. It's just big enough to heat up your leftovers. And I guess we can put this drawer back. There we go. So we got it now. Yeah, so that's the gist with that. Speaking of the water system, we turned on the water heater before. This is a 12-volt water heater, so it skips AC inversion, which is really nice. You don't put undue load on your inverter. It helps you conserve additional battery power. And it's a really nice, clean, concise little package that we're able to fit all of this in here. We got the pump, the accumulator. Accumulator helps relieve the pump of undue stress as well. This is a super compact little cabinet. We actually managed to fit the Webasto diesel heater underneath as well. And you might be wondering how you service this. This is proprietary in design. I've never seen anybody do this. These are motorcycle hood latch pins. And so all you do is just push those 3 buttons. And this whole panel just comes right out for easy service. And so now I mentioned taking the water lines off of the sink or the galley cabinet. This is how you do that. We use dishwasher elbows that hook up to garden hose thread. So all the client has to do is just turn these ball valves to the closed position and undo them, and it's isolated. And the important part about the ball valve is it still allows usage of the water heater for the outdoor shower, even if he doesn't have this hooked up. So he still has running water and hot water, even if that's not hooked up. Carefully put that back in there, and look how easy this is. Click, click, boom. Now, this is, before we get over the energy system, I think it's important to talk about another aspect. So my client's an artistic person, and he likes to paint. So it was important to him to have another multifaceted asset of his bed, and that the bed deployment system serves as an accessory workbench for his painting hobby. So you fold this out like Jacob's ladder, and so that gets deployed like that. He can either stand here, or he could maybe carry a bar stool or something. I'd probably recommend putting something down on this surface just to protect the upholstery. But you have a very ample work surface. Now, the one other possibility, as I mentioned, he intends on using this as a mobile office. He can put merchandise out here for people to see and choose from. And yeah, so that's that. Now, turning around, we have the electrical system. And so I'm an ABYC certified marine electrical technician. And all of the wiring I do is to marine electrical standards, so I think that's important to note. Basic 12-volt system, 200 amp hour battery bank, multi-plus 2, 200 watts of solar coming into this MPPT charge controller. Really excited about the new Orion XS from Victron. That's much more efficient than the old Orion that actually happens to be right next to it. Now, the only point of that old style Orion is that it's intended to be a trickle charger so that the starting battery stays topped off from solar whenever the vehicle is sitting. The Servo GX is an amazing device. It integrates to the VRM portal, so I can look at my client's rig from anywhere in the world as long as he's got internet connection, and he does because he's got Starlink satellite internet. Same process to remove this panel for the electrical system. You might note on the same topic of marine electrical, all of my wiring that I use in these rigs is marine grade wiring. I use boat cable for everything. And we got a nice LED light that on both of these cabinets, both the water and the electrical utility, for servicing and to put it on display. I believe here at Barn Swallow Tiny Homes that you shouldn't have to hide your utilities. They should be beautiful. They're a practical thing, and they don't have to be beautiful, but I like them to be beautiful. Now, this is the fun part. This is where I got to really express myself and come up with something very unique, and I've never seen this done anywhere before. I'm quite proud of the system that we got here, and there's a reason for it. One of my clients' requests was to be able to fit a full-size 48 by 48 pallet in the back of this van, which, if you're going to fit utilities in here with literally no other cabinetry and that one's removable, the question is how the heck do you do that? And the answer to that is to make this as low profile as possible and make the bed as low profile as possible. And so the deployment strategy that I came up with was these bamboo sleepers on workbench brackets that fold up out of the cabinet, and then you got the Jacob's ladder system that folds down. And again, that allows everything to fall in a 10 3/4 inch profile on each side of the van and allow a 48 inch clearance in the gap. Now, if the bed is folded away, he's able to stack everything up to the air conditioner if he wanted to. I don't know if I'd recommend that, but in theory he could do that. And now if the bed is deployed, he could fit 48 inches wide, of course, and he could fit a pallet that, as long as it doesn't hit these arms underneath the van. So it's extremely versatile for him. And now, before we carry on to the other side, I wanted to just show you guys the operable A&M Auto windows and the bamboo accent screen or window cover that goes on here. I'll show you on this side, however, that it's operable, and you got to pull pretty hard on it because it's a quality window. It's got a good seal on it. The screen itself is operable as well, so able to hand his wife a drink out the window or what have you. Let's put that back and lock it. There we go. You might have been wondering about the possibility of this to go flying if he was going down rough roads or whatnot. And so we made this little retention system for both sides. It just hooks right on with a bungee. Now, the client intends to sleep like this, so with his head facing this way, feet that way, on this 38 by 70 inch bed. And so being that his head's on this side, I thought maybe it would be nice to have a reading light for if he's laying in bed and reading a book. It's also nice to have an AC and DC receptacle for plugging his phone in or his tablet or whatnot. The cabinet above, he could, put nighttime necessities or anything in that cabinet, really easy to access. And behind, if it's a beautiful night, he can lay on his bed and have the bug screen deployed. And he's got the screen here with, I don't know if you guys can see in the video. I know in normal light you can see it, but this is the insulated covers and privacy for the rear. Nice to have that. Also hard to see, but I don't know how to expose that other than zipping this the whole way up. But he's got storage pods on this upper section and this upper section. I guess that's nice for your phone or trinkets when you're laying in bed. And so yeah, now I'll carry on. Now that I've finished talking about all this back here, I want to show you how the bed is actually deployed. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to take this cushion and we're going to put it up here like so, and then we'll fold this down like that. And then I'm going to turn around and we're going to raise this arm up. I'm going to try and get out of the way so Patrick can get in here and film it for you. These are really strong. I'm a big guy, and 280 pounds to be exact, and these are ridiculously strong. So I fold this one out too then, and then just put the safety lock in there like that. Undo the restraint, and then the Jacob's ladder system deploys. Now this is the part that Patrick was gracious enough to help me with, but this piece of aluminum and this piece of maple nest right inside of each other. And the last part of securing the bed is these 3 latches that are underneath. We'll just do one for sake of example, but you got to get down on your hands and knees to lock the others. And that makes for an extremely strong bed system where I would I would sleep on that any day of the week without worry. So then you get this other cushion and it locks in. I believe I mentioned already we have a 38 by 70 inch bed. It might actually be a smidgen wider than that just because of where the cushions sit beyond or you can reach the whole way to the window.
Cody, I'm 5'9", 180. Why don't you hold the camera real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Just so they could get an idea, if you want to step back a little bit.
Sure.
Of the size of the bed. That works for me.
Hey, check that out.
You know, you could even do is open the window and stick your feet outside.
There you go. You might need to, now that you took your shoes off, Patrick, you might need to do that.
And look,
air this place out.
I can still stand up, and it's easy to just jump off the bed. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this is great, Cody. I love everything you've done with this van. And the client had a very specific list of requests that are not traditional.
No,
not too many people need to remove a galley kitchen. I like that everything's quick disconnect. I'm sure he's going to need 1 or 2 other buddies to carry this thing out. This Corian's really thick,
yeah,
and the wood's really thick. Can you open the back door so we can see what's going on back there?
Let's go check that out, Patrick. Right this way. All right. Still plenty of goodies to reveal here. So we got these Van Life Essential storage pods on the door. Made nice use of that. The factory van came with plastic panels from Mercedes, and they really served no purpose. There was no storage really whatsoever built in. But this is a better chance to see the storage pods on the top. Excuse me. And we have on the Aluminess door racks, they have limiting straps to make sure we don't damage the van and hyperextend the hinges. I think it's very smart to keep those on. And the bug screen, of course, is pretty straightforward. It's nice to be able to keep them out. Let's zip it up and let's take a look at the rear from the electrical system, or excuse me, the water system, and our branding. Make sure you know who built it. This is the storage. So there was a little pod here in the factory plastic that I was able to take advantage of. So the hose actually just fits right down in that recess when not in use. So that's the shower fixture. And down here we have AC outlet, DC outlet. This is the 3-way switching mechanism. So I mentioned the first switch that's up there by the driver if the backing in for the docking lights. This is the other switch for the docking lights. They should be on now. Yeah, they are. Look at that. And then we have, this is the intake for the Webasto heater, so that there's a screen there protecting the Webasto heater from contaminants. And this is the little switch that lights up the display cabinet. let's close that up and take a look from this side. The electrical system. And thank you, Patrick. Let's get that wide open up. There we go, much better. Here we have, I mentioned doing everything to marine standards. So these are actually marine circuit panels. This is the DC panel, this is the AC panel. Now, I've rewired this panel for a 50 amp shore power service, which is nice if you plug into a 50 amp service. It really allows you to take full advantage of the charging capabilities and the pass-through current capabilities of the Victron Multi Plus 2. I just think it's fantastic back here. I think it's like an art display, and most importantly, it serves the request of my client to be able to fit a full-size pallet here in the back. And I hope my client enjoys it. I hope he gets to have lots of memories and make lots of money with this van. And
well, this is awesome. I know from reading all my comments on the videos that everybody wants something different. Yeah. So I could showcase a van, right?
Yeah.
And someone's gonna say, well, this doesn't have this, and this doesn't have this. Well, everybody's wants and needs are gonna be different, right? Sure. So if you're getting a custom van done and you have a builder like you that's willing to say, hey, let's figure this out, you can get something spectacular like this. Now, the one thing I know every single person is gonna comment, where's the toilet? And I know off camera we talked about your customer already bought a portable toilet that they're gonna use. So they're going to bring it in, put it wherever they need to put it.
That's
they
correct.
don't want it in there when their clients are in there, right? So they're going to leave it at home or hide it or put it away. So that's why there's no toilet incorporated in here. It's purposely done so his client doesn't have to explain it, I guess, every time they come in.
Yeah.
And it's nice that, I think that drawer that you pulled out in the kitchen, that little spot there, that'd be perfect for a toothbrush and toothpaste and floss and everything you need. That's what I put there.
Thanks, Patrick.
Well, awesome. I'll make sure I put links in the description so our viewers could click over to your website and your social media and follow you. You have anything else you want to add?
I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I want to thank you, Patrick, for making time for me to showcase another one of my creations here. It's a real honor to be on the channel.
Awesome. Thanks for having. I'll have you on again. I know you're going to be building something else pretty soon. So this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us.